Because this West Street thing is his baby, you know?
I got it. But he's smiling.
I can't believe one of our youth city councilmen is here. She was on our council. There she's the second one right there, Mayor. She was on our youth council at one time. She remembered us. She said, I remember you. They took them here, they brought them back, they just put them in there. Where they at? Insurance? Let me get them. You better come on.
I had to hold it up till he got back.
Who else we missing? Tim?
It's 4 of us.
We're in.
It's 4 of us.
Oh, I was. That's why you have one.
Yeah, I was looking for one, and I said something to them in here.
You chair like mine, like they go lower.
Yeah, come on.
All right, this big rowdy crowd that we have here tonight has delayed us starting 1 minute tonight. We are 1 minute late this morning, so I'd like to call to order the March 24th, 2022 meeting of Mayor and Council. If you'd all stand and join us in the invocation given by Councilman Ben Norton to my right. Amen. You would remain standing. I'm going to call forward the and recognize the Boy Scouts of America Girl Troop 2020 in Valdosta. It's the first girl troop in our area. The Scoutmaster Melissa Johnson is with them as well. They're all working toward their Eagle Award. It will be the first generation to accomplish that. History in the making right here in our fine town. We'd be honored to have them come forward to the podium and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you do so, please? Your lead.
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. I'd like to recognize, before we move on to the meeting, recognize a couple of other distinguished guests, actually many, of those representing the Leadership Lounge Youth Organization. Johnny Ball, Kayla Calloway, would you stand? Congratulations. And I'll try and do the Leadership Lounge class of 2022 in rapid fire fashion. Dave DeSalvo, Woodrow Rupp, Vicki Roundtree, Etika Register, Felicia Roundtree, Daniel Bayman, Matt Bethel, Julie Blodgett, and who did I forget? Jason Van Nuss is here too. Please stand. Leadership Lounge class of 2022. You must rank up there as best class ever. You didn't wait till like the last month to come to a council meeting. Thank you. Council, you've had time to look at the minutes from the March 10th, 2022 regular meeting. Are there any additions or deletions? Hearing none, the minutes are approved by acclamation. We'll move on to item 3 in your agenda, public hearings. This consideration of a request to close an unnamed alley between Savannah Avenue and a parcel that Pat will name. Pat Collins, our city engineer, will present.
Okay. Attached to the petition requesting an unnamed alley between Savannah Avenue and this parcel 0157D010. It's to be vacated and closed is what the request is. It's over in the Pine View subdivision, and this is over where James Wright, the past city councilman, where his family lives back in there off of Lindsay and Clay Road. But really this particular alley just exists on paper. There's 5 parcels. There's no utilities in the easement or in the alley. There's no pavement. Again, it's just something that's on paper. They passed around the petition. It crosses 5 parcels. All 5 parcel members signed and would like to have it vacated, and so it met the required 60% threshold, and we're requesting tonight that you approve the closure of the unnamed alley.
Council, any questions for Pat?
Yes, I want to ask one question.
Yes, ma'am.
When you close that alley like that, how do anybody, divide the land up, the piece of the...
Yeah, what happens is whatever it crosses over, if it crosses over 5 pieces, for example, what it will do is we'll split it down the middle, the length of the alley, and then maybe, let's just say it's set up this way, 2 on one side will get those little pieces, and 3 on the other side will get the other 3 pieces. So it gets split up into 5 pieces.
Okay, thank you.
Just make one, typically what we're doing here, we're just abandoning and closing the street.
Mm-hmm.
That is typically how it occurs. It's not automatic. If the landowner wants to come and clear up the title, they come and approach us. If it's a long process for the city to go and prepare their titles for sliver of land, so we typically let the landowner come back and approach us and they can clear the title. We're closing the streets and managing the streets through this process. Just want to clear that up.
If we got Pat Collins and our city attorney, that's official.
Thank you.
Any further questions of Pat? Again, this is a public hearing, so is there anybody that wants to come forward and speak in favor of this request? Seeing none, is there anybody that would like to come forward and speak in opposition of this request? Again, seeing none, I'll turn it over to council for action.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve the closure of this unnamed alley.
Second.
All in favor, show of hands. It is so closed. Thank you, council. We'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. Consideration of an ordinance to amend the ordinance for the municipal court technology fee. Chuck Dinkins, our finance director, gets to present. Haven't seen you in a while, Chuck.
It's been a little while. Just to stay in practice. This is just an ordinance to increase the technology fee. Back in 2015, the police department and the courts were looking at municipal court software with the need to assess a technology fee. The council passed a fee of $2.50, which was adequate at the time. The court went in another direction. We didn't end up with that software. We're now looking at courtware to bring in now, and they also assess a technology fee, but at this time the fee needs to be $4 for the software they're looking at. I'll be happy to take any questions that you have.
Could it be $4 total dollars or $4 added to?
$4 per ticket processed by the software.
Council, any questions for Chuck? Chuck, thank you.
Thank you.
Council, it's yours for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the request as stated.
Technology fee. So noted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you, council. Move on to item 5, bids, contracts, agreements, and expenditures. Consideration of bids for the West Street Pedestrian Improvement Project. Pat Collins, our city engineer, again.
Okay, I'm a little saddened that Mr. Vickers couldn't make it here this evening, but this was a project that he fought for hard in his neighborhood.
I got it.
All right, but anyway, West Street between River and Gordon Street is where we're going to be doing this work, and it's a 2,500-foot length of roadway currently. There's kind of ditches on both sides. You got to walk in the pavement. If you all remember, a few years ago, we did the South Troop Street, and you remember kind of what it looked like. Well, West Street's very similar to that. And so when we're finished, it's going to be similar to what we did over at Troop Street, where you'll have curb and gutter on either side. We're going to do some piping of the ditches. We'll put in the sidewalk and repave the street, and we'll also add driveway aprons to all the parcels. So we put out for bid the project. We received 2 bids, and the low bid went to Southland Contractors in the amount of $1,154,792. If we add a 10% contingency amount for unforeseen circumstances, we're requesting tonight that you award a bid to Southland Contractors in the amount of $1,270,000, $271.20. I'll take any questions that you might have.
Council, any questions for Pat on this wonderful project? No questions. I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, Mr. Mayor, sir, I request that we approve this request with all the guidelines stated by Mr. Pat Collins. I included everything, the 10% and everything, all the guidelines that you asked, that we approve this request.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, show of hands. Mr. Vickers would be proud. Council, thank you.
He is.
Item 6, boards, commissions, authorities, and advisory committees. We have a couple of appointments to do tonight that should meet no resistance. Consideration of an appointment to the Valdosta Historic Preservation Commission. It has one member, Sally Quirin, whose term expired in February of 2022. She's expressed an interest in being reappointed. This appointment was advertised according to the boards, commissions, authorities, and advisory committees policy. It was adopted by mayor and council. The only applicant to apply was Sally Quirin. So, council, I will entertain a motion to move her forward.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, show of hands. Council, thank you. We'll move on to item B. Valdosta Housing Board of Adjustments and Appeals has 2 members whose terms have expired. They did so in 2020 and 2021. The appointments were advertised according to our adopted policy. The only applicant was Carlton Richard, County Public Works and Road Maintenance Worker. I will now entertain a motion to move him forward.
Mr. Mayor, I make a recommendation. We move forward Carlton Richard.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, show of hands. This meeting couldn't be going better if it tried. We'll move on to item 7, citizens to be heard. It's the portion of the meeting that we ask you to come forward, state your name and address so we may have it for the record. Our policy requires that you stay under 3 minutes so that others have time to be heard. Please direct all comments to council as a whole. Do not attempt to engage individual members of council in debate. It is our policy to follow through with you on your concern immediately. We ask any groups that want to address the council designate one spokesperson as well, again, to ensure that citizens have time to be heard. Having said that, are there any citizens that would like to come forward at this time? Look at that. I didn't jinx us by saying this meeting was going fantastic. I will close that portion out and move on to the city manager's report. Mark Barber, our fantastic city manager, to present.
Mayor, I have no comments this evening, but I'd be happy to answer the questions that the council might have.
Council? Mark, thank you.
I have a question.
Oh, there we go, Mrs. Didn't let any of us down.
Why is it you don't have any comments?
Well, we've got a little gathering to get to here in just a moment, so,
Worn out from last weekend.
but I'll double up on them next time just for you, Councilwoman.
And for the people in attendance tonight, Mark and I will be hustling to a Moody support effort. If you remember the legend of many years ago in the early 90s, when we ended up on a BRAC Commission list, that a group of community leaders came together to save our Air Force Base in the 11th hour. Well, this time we're not waiting for that list. We are being very proactive with this group to make sure we're well out in front of this for any needs of that Air Force Base that generates, $600 million in economic impact to our community every single year, year in, year out. So again, we're going to hustle to entertain, I believe, a brigadier general tonight. Somebody who makes the decisions. Council comments, are there any for tonight?
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to make a comment about our summit we had. Many thanks to Brian and our staff for the awesome job they did coordinating that. Our packets were perfect. Nobody could ask for anything better. Technology worked great. We're glad for that. And I think we got an awful lot accomplished together for our city, and our citizens have a benefit from it.
I couldn't agree more. Any other council comments?
Well done.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Seeing Mr. Vickers is not here, I'll have to look elsewhere for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, show of hands. Thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight. They never go this fast.
I'm kidding.